Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, is at this hour meeting with northeastern leaders from Isiolo, Garissa and Wajir counties to discuss security and administrative issues at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Let's just cross over and listen in.
Principal Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Government, I just want to say this, that you will get a chance at the end of this media briefing to ask questions. So when you get the chance, please remember to mention your name and the media house that you represent. And keep the questions within the scope of what will be discussed today. And with those few remarks, I would like now to invite the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, P.S. Kibicho.
Thank you very much, Kanoguna. First, to thank you for your interest as media in the issue of security. That is our issue of discussion today between counties of Garissa and Isiolo, where there has been an ongoing conflict. And today we have invited the leadership from northeastern and from Isiolo, so that we can discuss ways of having lasting peace in that region. We are aware that besides insecurity that is internally generated by conflicts around pasture, cat rustling and such crime, the region that we also have to deal with insecurity arising from Al-Shabaab. And we have had a meeting with the leadership and have agreed on the way forward with them and start the journey towards building peaceful coexistence between the communities, especially around the internal boundaries of these counties. So in this briefing, we will have some comments before the Cabinet Secretary addresses us. We'll have some comments from the Governor of Garissa, Governor Karane. We'll have also some comments from Governor of Isiolo, Dr. Kuti. And finally, we'll have comments from the CS. We have chosen that because we are a big group and the comments from those governors are representative of the discussion and views that have been expressed, especially by the political leadership from the various counties. So let me take this opportunity to invite Governor for Garissa, Governor for Isiolo, and the CS in that order. Thank you very much. Governor for Garissa.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We met this morning to discuss the recurrent conflict among the people of Isiolo and Garissa and Wajir and Isiolo. And we have agreed in principle that we need to bring to an end this conflict. The killings need to stop. We are neighbors, and we have been neighbors forever, and we will continue to be neighbors. And we need to find a solution to these problems. Our problems mainly has been the sharing of pasture and water, and the conflicts around them, including some element of cattle rustling. And we have agreed that as leaders, we should take the leadership to come together as leaders of Garissa and Wajir and ensure that our people continue to live in peace as they have always done, and that we shall guarantee that whenever we need to seek pasture from across, because people from Garissa who do the seeking of the pasture, that we will consult our neighbors and continue to graze in their lands with their consent. So with those few remarks, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I think today we had, I would like to first appreciate the national government, especially CS Matiang'i and his team, for calling for this meeting, because lately we have been having escalated insecurity between Isiolo, Garissa, and Isiolo, Wajir. One of the things that really we address today is that we should not come back here always talking the same thing, because there are certain historical things that had to be corrected. I think the issue of border was fully addressed today, and directives were given to ensure that the border, which is already known, should be respected, and a grazing arrangement be made so that people respect one another, people live as neighbors together. The issue of NPR was addressed, and balancing the numbers, and in fact the usefulness has been addressed, so that the government now makes sure security is taken over by government, and balancing of those NPRs should be done. The issue of strengthening the peace committees is very, very important, and it has been very active in the past, where neighbors, the two committees, interact and maintain good neighborliness and report any incidences and contain at that level. We as leaders also, we have taken responsibility to work together and ensure peaceful coexistence of our people, because these are the same people, Kenyans. So we feel that this is a very productive meeting, and we are grateful to CS Matiang'i and his team for organizing, and we feel today we have left this meeting with certain clear directions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Governor Kuti. Ambassador Mahmoud, the governor of Wajir County, although he did not make remarks, was part of us. Thank you so much, Governor Korane, the governor of Garissa, and all the elected leaders from Garissa, Wajir, and Isiolo. Let me begin, first of all, by very sincerely thanking these leaders. The issues that we are dealing with, and then my colleagues in the security sector as a whole, the issues we are dealing with are not easy. Some of them are very complex. Some of them are of a historical nature. Others may have happened because of things that were not done in the past when they were supposed to be done. So we are faced with a situation where in some cases we're actually doing some painful corrective action. But fortunately for all of us, in some cases, much as some of the decisions we have had to take this morning require a lot of understanding, I'm grateful that we've had very useful discussions. And I thank these leaders, because the commitment they have shown to bring about peace on the boundary between their counties is very helpful. But I need to say about 2-3 other points. One is the nature of our country. When we are moving towards an electoral cycle, you see an escalation of intercommunal tensions, some of them, relating to pasture, but some of them also, we have to be very sincere, have a relationship to a political activity or political intentions or political expressions. We have had a very candid and honest conversation with each other. And in matters like this, I do not want to be naive and assume that we will all agree on everything. Some of us may have felt that we probably needed to do things or certain things differently. But that's the nature of discussions and negotiations. It's a journey. And I liked what one of the leaders has just told us, one of the members of parliament here, who said this is a journey. We're building a relationship, and we are trying to ensure that we sort out some of the mistakes that may have been done in the past. So we have agreed on how we are going to work on this. Some of the decisions we have made, for example, in relation to administrative boundaries and how they are going to be sorted out, are not things we will do overnight. We will work on them, and we will continue to consult one another. Because the hallmark of a society that is going to survive and go far is that we have to be at the table talking to one another all the time. And that is what we have done this morning, and that is what we are going to continue to do. We were accompanied by the Inspector General of the National Police Service, Mr. Mutiambai, the 2 DIGs, my colleagues, the regional commissioners for Northeastern and Eastern. all the county commissioners from the counties concerned, and the teams from the police commands that are handling this matter. We've come to an agreement on the various actions that need to be taken, and I want to urge the leaders that it is now our turn to lead the way in observing the agreements we have reached, especially in ensuring that we check some of the ways in which we express ourselves. I know that when we have conflict or when we have challenges, passions are inflamed, and there is a temptation always to point fingers, even using language that could inflame passions further and worsen conflict. I want to plead with my brothers and sisters who are standing behind me, and those of our colleagues in the political practice, that we have a country to manage. We have a people to lead. And even when we have challenges such as we do, or such as we have had on the boundaries between Wajir, Garissa, and Isiolo, we always must remember that even beyond that conflict, we are family, we are one nation, and we must remain together as we go forward. So we will ensure that we police this better. The Inspector General has undertaken to look into the deployment of our police resources on that boundary, and we will do our best to ensure that we serve our people in that part of the country effectively. We are now conducting an audit of the National Police Reservists and the KPRs in that part of our country, as directed by His Excellency the President in his capacity as the Chair of the National Security Council, and we are looking at how we have used those resources in the past and if we can use them better. We will soon also begin a very aggressive exercise of disarmament. It is possible, actually, that in some parts of our country like that one, we have more arms that are in wrong hands, and we will conduct that exercise very aggressively soon. The Inspector General and our team are working on the plan, and within a very short time we'll begin to deal with that problem. Since I have this opportunity, let me conclude my remarks by making a point on what is going on in Kapedo. As I said yesterday, the statement I issued, what happened is that our senior police officer was murdered. There was no conflict. It was a clear case of a premeditated, planned ambush that was targeting our Deputy Director of Operations with the GSU. Kenyans know this, and there are times when we must speak to each other candidly and stop pretending and doing public relations about some of these things. That part of our country has been very costly to us in the security sector. We have lost security officials there. We have lost Ngao officials there. We have lost innocent Wananchi. And there is a culture in that part of our country which seems to protect negative and criminal armament that disguises, first of all, as cat rustling, but in actual fact, it is funded. And I want to say this, it is funded. We are in hot pursuit of certain people, including leaders. And I want to assure the country on this particular score, we are going to act very decisively. And we will make sure that those who are involved in that are facilitated to meet with the law. Because that will not happen. And then by the time we are done with what we are doing there, it will be a story to be told in generations to come when there will be no such violence in that place. Because they asked for us to move there, we have moved our policing resources there, and we are going to increase very stiff resources in that part of the country. I am asking those who know those people who murdered our senior police officer to surrender them. But if they don't want to surrender them, we will still go for them. We will look for them. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take us. And it does not matter what resources we are going to use. We will get them and bring them to justice. Because we cannot allow that kind of lawlessness to persist in our country. Some people have done that, including leaders. I need to emphasize it, including leaders. And they have gotten away with that kind of behavior for far too long. That time has come when we must have a honest conversation on that matter. And my colleagues in the security sector know what we have agreed this morning, and we are going to proceed on it. It cannot happen in a free country like this that you murder security officers in that kind of manner, under the guise of cat rustling. We will not accept it. And then we will remain in that part of the country and we will remain in that operation until we have collected every one of those people who murdered our police officers. Thank you. Yeah, Governor is reminding me about what we agreed in there. I've raised issues about, in this part of the country, we have some FM stations that we are looking at. I will request shortly my colleague, the Minister for ICT and the Communications Authority of Kenya. We will share the information that we have and the concerns we have. We are a democracy, and Kenya is a democracy. We chose to be a democratic nation by choice. Freedom of expression is our way of life now, but responsibility is also necessary. Some of those FM stations, especially in that northern part of the country, that are spewing hate, and some of them that are advancing anti-peace propaganda, we will not allow them. So before we invoke the Public Order Act, I want to say this. We have the option of doing that, but I will follow the law in the manner in which we are going to do it.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i there, together with the Principal Secretary Dr. Karanja Kibicho, just talking about the security issues in the northeastern part of Kenya. We'll be giving you more information about this.